Hey, what's up? This is a video covering how to kind of play chords with, scales with chords, or and some basic theory stuff. This is a video if you're not a true beginner, just really starting out, but maybe intermediate. Theoretically, let's say you've been playing some typical chords, and then you're wondering what notes will go with that. And maybe you're looking to start soloing or embellish your playing, give it a little bit more something. And you're wondering what notes to play with that. And you're not looking to so much solo, but like I said, embellish your notes. Well, let's examine what we're doing right off the bat, which is playing chords. Some basic theory stuff. Chords are when you play in our harmony that we're using. Your basic chord is root, third, and fifth. Matter of fact, all these chords that I just played contain three basic notes. Your root note, your third of that note of that chord, and your fifth. So on your D chord, your root obviously is the D. It's the root. It's where it starts. You skip the second, you go to the third, and then you skip the fourth note, fifth. And this is based off that D major scale. So in your most basic sense, your arpeggio consists of your root, third, and fifth. And normally, in our basic chords that we just played, is that root is always the lowest tone. So when you play that D chord, that D is in the bass note. Your C chord, your C is in the bass note. G, there's your G. Now that's not the only root note you have in those chords. In your D, for instance, there's two Ds. That D and then the one in the B string, that's also a D. This note right here is your A, which is your fifth, and then your third is your F sharp, second fret on the bottom string. Same thing with the C. You have more than three notes in there. You're going to say, well, why is it just, you're saying three notes, but I'm playing five? Well, you got duplicates. You have two C's, your root note here, your lowest note, and then on the B string, first fret, that's a C. You also have two E's. You have your bottom string E, and then your second fret on the D string. And you have your G as your third. So C, E, G. Once again, we're gonna play the root, skip the second note of the scale, and there's our third, fifth. Now the third occupies, before I go any further, our third occupies a huge part in all this. It determines whether or not we're a major or minor chord. There's our major sound, and we all know that. If I lower this third a half step, it becomes a minor. On the D, that's where our D minor chord's like that. There's our minor third. And our A, that's our major A, that's how we play our A, or like this. This is lowered down a half step. There's our minor, just one note and one half step away. Turns a hugely difference in the chord. So, and then our fifth rounds everything out. Our root obviously gives our name for our chord. That being said, when we get to more complex chord, the first thing to go is our fifth. We get rid of it, and we'll throw other notes in there to create the chord. As I said, our most basic chord is root, third, fifth. That's not to say it's not going to get way more complex than that, but let's start easy. So, going back to our scale, here's for my students at home. Made up a chart of some different notes or things. So here's our C chord. Well, what do we play when we hear a C chord? One of the things we could play, theoretically, is C, open D, second fret, third fret on the D string, open G, second fret on the G, open B, and then C on the first fret on the B string. If we keep going, we could play the third fret, open E, F, and then G, or first fret and third fret. So, goofing around. I slid up to here, it's the same note as an open G. Now what I would advise doing is a couple things. Play your chord and then start maybe singing a melody. Da, 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 da. To get some ideas. Or play a melody that you know. Happy birthday off of that note. That's something you get the idea. I'm spacing out right now. Anyways, Christmas tunes, that's where I got mine. And there's our C, or you can play it off here. You get the idea. And then just start. But think in terms of melody when you're playing around with that. And then, or another way to do it is copy the melodies that you hear from songs. We can get into that later. But here's, as I said, here's our first step. Now, if you know where the notes are, you can start adding fingers. Like here's my pinky dropping down on the bottom string. I can flatten my first finger out. I didn't even take that first finger off. It creates a C major 7th chord. I'll do that with some other chords. Let's stay with the C for a minute right here. Now, if I play this kind of bar chord C, you might say to yourself, well, what about this, Bill? If I'm playing this chord, then where am I getting my notes? Well, here's our C scale, starting from the fifth string there, or A string. There's one. So here it goes. I'm using my second finger, although I suppose I could use my first finger. Or, so that's going 3rd, 5th on the A, 2nd, 3rd, 5th on the D, 2nd fret, 4th, 5th on the G, 3rd on the B, 5th on the B, 6th on the B, 3rd on the bottom string, the E, 5th, 7, and then there's our octave, our C on the 8th fret of the E string. So, there's our C major 7th chord again. That's also an out. Let's go further down this way. And there we go. It's the tail end of the major scale. Anyways, so there we have it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Let's play a D chord. Our D, there's our D. There it is. So, and that's open D, second, fourth, open G, second, fourth fret, and then second fret, our C sharp note, and then our D, second fret on the B string, sorry, third fret on the B string. If we keep going further, we have this. Keep going further yet, or sorry, what that was third, fifth, second, third, fifth. Let's keep going. Seventh, ninth, 10th. But that's not all. Let's watch this. This is what I tend to use a lot right now. A full D chord would have your pinky, and you don't have to play this way, but I just want to explain behind this. Pinky on the 5th fret of the A string, for third finger on the 4th fret of the D string, our first finger barred across the 2nd fret of the G, B, and D, second finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. There's our full D chord. Now watch this. If I'm jamming on this chord, I'll play it like this. So what is that? Pinky, 5th fret on the A string, first finger on the 2nd fret of the D, 4th fret, 5th fret of the D, G string 2nd fret, 4th fret on the G, 2nd fret of the B, 3rd fret of the B, 5th fret of the B, 2nd fret of the bottom string, the E, 3rd fret of the E, 5th fret of the E. In case you're wondering, it's the same form as your C. Same form. Now if we move this shape up, it's movable. I move this shape up to the 7th fret. There's our E chord. So those are 3 different ways to negotiate like a simple C chord, where we're going to play a major scale against a C chord. Now that's not to say that if the C lies on this is a little theory, but on the 4th degree in the key of G, then it's not going to work. It's not going to sound good sometimes. It's just not, because, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. But just keep that in the back of your head. That C scale is not always going to work, and you're going to be, Bill, it's wrong. It's what's going on. Let's go pretend we're in the key of G. And so here's our scale we're going to use for G here. So that is 3rd fret of the E string, 5th fret, 2nd, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 5th of the A, 2nd, 4th, 5th of the D, same thing on the G, 2nd, 4th, 5th of the G, 3rd fret, 5th fret of the B, 2nd fret of the E string, 3rd fret of the E string. We can throw in this for good measure, which is your 5th fret of the E. If we keep going up, oops, no, oh. That is 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, 15th. So there we go. There's our D, our G. So if I'm playing a G, all this stuff, this Hendrix stuff, that's where you got it from. It's all part of the scale. Or so if somebody's jamming on the G chord, and there's our G. But now I said, well, if somebody goes to a C, wouldn't this work? Not necessarily. Sometimes this note's going to clash. Why? Because if we're in the key of G, technically you're looking to hear this. You're looking to hear the F sharp note, which changes our C to what's called a Lydian mode. Now, let me back up before I scare you off. You're going to be like, oh, now I have to learn another mode. Well, not just yet. And if you want to just dabble in it, just over the C chord, think G. So, if you've memorized this, which I hope you do, and that's the key we're in, start your C scale right here, and then you have your Lydian mode. That's it. And it will work. So if you study this scale, you kind of know it already, which is the beauty of modes, is because they're built upon a different degree of your major scale, your tonic, or what key you're in. So watch this. So let's play a Dorian mode. And you're gonna be like, I don't know a Dorian mode. Well, if you learn this one as a starting point, yes you do. Start the scale on the second degree, which is your Dorian, and here's your A Dorian. Now, of course, if you're farther along than an intermediate or beginner, you're going to be like, you're teaching this all wrong. Well, that's not true. Yeah, I want you to take the next step to learn an actual scale pattern, but let's build upon what we know first. And what really should be the framework of our groundwork of what we know is that your modes are built upon different degrees of the major scale, and that's one way of showing it. And yes, I know all my modes. There's our A Dorian. But that's a subject for another video. But anyways, so the next thing I think we should do is our C minor scale. So we did or we could even say D minor scale, and here it is. Let's do C minor because that's what I wrote on the thing. Here's our root note of our scale right here. This root note is movable. If I move this pattern that I'm showing you up to the 5th fret, it's a D minor. If you move it up to the 7th fret, it's an E minor. 8th fret is an F. 10th fret is a G, so on and so forth. This is your root note. It's movable. Same with this G that I showed you. If I move this up to the 5th fret, after G comes A. I could move it up to the 7th fret. It's a B major scale. 8th fret is a C. 10th is a D. 1st fret is an F. And so on and so forth. Well, same thing with this. This is a C minor on the 3rd fret. 5th fret is a D minor. But anyways, here's the pattern. 3rd, 5th, 6th, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 3rd, 5th. So A strings 3rd, 3, 5, 6th. D strings 3, 5, 6. 3rd finger's 3, 5. Our B string is 3, 4, 6. And then same thing with the bottom string, our E string, 3, 4, 6. So as we're jamming our C minor chord, if you're playing a bar chord over here, or another version of that C minor scale would be up here. 8, 10, 11 on the E string. A string is same thing. 8, 10, 11. And it's going to go to your 8, 10 on the D string. G string, you're going to double back, play 7, 8, 10 on the G string. Go back up to the 8th fret, and it becomes 8, 9, 11. On the bottom string, it's 8, 10, 11. Now, going back to what I said about the modes being within the different scales, it works both ways. So, yeah, if you're playing your major scale, you've got your other modes in there. But if I'm playing this pattern, the one I just showed you, it's interesting to note, a little bit more theory. You can write this down. So I'm playing a C minor, and I'm playing my C minor scale. Now, a relative major for that chord is our E flat. Now, here's our E flat note. There's an E flat, which is the 6th fret of the A string, 8th fret of the G string. If I start there and play a major scale, play the major scale notes, it's the exact same notes that are in the minor scales because they're relative minors. Our natural minor scale is built upon the 6th degree of the major scale. Rewind and hear it again. On the 6th degree of our major scale is our natural minor scale. So in other words, there's this interlocking relationship. They're one and the same, if you will. They contain the same notes, just as our G major scale has all the notes of A Dorian, and so on and so forth, all the modes related to G. So G, A Dorian, B, Phrygian, and so on and so forth. And then Lydian, Mixolydian, natural minor, Locrian. So everything will have, hold on, let me say this clearly. Our A Dorian has the same notes as your G major. Our B Phrygian has the same notes as G major because it's built upon the 3rd degree of the major scale. Built upon the 4th degree is your Lydian, your C Lydian. Watch this. Here's the C Lydian scale. So on and so forth. Hopefully I'm not confusing you too much. And this is getting to be a long video, but we'll treat it like a lesson, half an hour lesson. So our minor scale, if I'm playing a minor chord, a minor bar chord up here, we want to jam on our Dorian, on our blues scale, pentatonic. If you want to get real fancy with it or cute with it, throw in this note. This is your main. And that note. It will inform your color choices instead of just playing 5 notes. Page did it a lot in Zeppelin. Your solo for Stairway to Heaven. If he was playing a pentatonic, he would have landed here. But the band was playing an F chord. This note, this F note, is part of your natural minor scale. There's our F. So if I'm playing an A minor scale, F. He does that a couple times in that solo. There's an F note that slips in there and you're thinking, that's a typical pentatonic. Not true. Very not true. And I think a lot of people miss that point when they're learning the solo. Oh, it's just a pentatonic and he hit an F because maybe he made a mistake. No, there's no mistake. He was playing a natural minor scale, which is why it would behoove you to start to learning more notes that you can color in your solos that you're playing. So yeah, A minor, C minor. That note right there is beautiful. So there's our C, our second, third, minor third. So that is our G sharp, our sixth note. Which is what he was playing in Zeppelin and Stairway to Heaven. Our sixth, and there's our second. So if this is your minor chord and you want to start jamming, and you already know your pentatonic, then you're just adding two notes. This note, there's your pentatonic. Add your second finger on the, if we're playing on the 8th fret, which is a C minor. Add that note where normally you'd be playing, you'd go 8 to 11, 8 to 11. Throw in your 9th fret, and that's your 6. Let's see what else I got. I didn't do your A. So once again, this is just notes to play as you're playing, and hope this is kind of touching this, just the surface, scratching the surface. But here's our A chord. So it goes like that. Open A, 2nd fret, 4th fret, open D, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 1st fret of the G to 2nd fret in our root note. Further, 2nd fret on the G, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret on the B, 5th fret, 2nd, 4th, 5th. Now lo and behold, our A, our relative minor for A, is F sharp minor. So watch this. Here's my A chord. You can see that our A chord physically looks like that. Our F sharp minor chord looks like that. It's within, it's right there. So a little bit of theory that should, for us guitar players, make it look A, F sharp minor, or relative minor. And there's our A major scale. Starting on the 2nd fret. But it's the same notes that are in the F sharp minor scale. A, F sharp minor. We do that all day long. C, our relative minor, is A minor. There's our A minor. There's our C major scale. play it solely, sorry. There's our C major scale. Same way I played it over here. C, or second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth octave. So, A, let's do it further. B major, our relative major, sorry, B minor, relative minor is E, sorry, D, or major. Okay, slow down. There's our B minor, there's our relative major, D. B minor, and there's our D major scale. There's our D chord. D chord, and there's our D major scale, but here's our B minor chord and here's our B minor scale. All right, hopefully this totally confuses you. And you have to write comments, because I always read the comments because nobody writes. But if you got questions, please write them down, and hopefully I didn't confuse you. I probably did. Please write them in the comments, and I will totally answer them as best I can. This is not the be-all and end-all. There's just a lot of stuff out there that you can learn from, and I recommend it. Most of it I find extremely good. But and I started this for my students just to clear up some of the stuff I went over in lessons, and so they have a reference. Like I said, either talk to me in lessons or write me a comment about what we're talking about. And this is going to be a series, all the little tricks and stuff, guitar stuff that I know and that I want to pass on. So, all right, have a good day. Take care. Bye.